What's going on, potheads? It's Average THC Guy, and today we are going to be telling the story of the time my friend greened out. This story starts around April 7th, I believe. It was a Friday, and my friend, John, his birthday was the next day, so we had a little birthday party for him at Jay's house. You might recognize Jay from the first story. That's where he did like the 10-person joint rotation after homecoming. So yeah, we were going to meet up at his house. It was going to be me, John, Jay, Marshall, his friend, we'll call him Glizzy. So yeah, after school that day, me and Marshall did our usual thing. He had gotten some purple haze, so we rolled it up in a king palm, and we actually smoked it in his car while he was driving. I don't know if you've ever given a 4-month-old smoker some purple haze, but that shit did not go down easy, and I almost threw up right in his car, and funny enough, that wouldn't even be the first time I had done that. So after I had gotten zooted off some purple haze, we had gone to Buffalo Wild Wings to get some dinner because we had some time to kill before we went to Jay's house. So Marshall was going to go pick up his friend Glizzy, and we were going to go straight to the house. So we had gotten dinner, and then John and I went over. And the funniest fucking thing happened. Jay has a bunch of these dogs that, like, he has maybe a mile of gravel road in front of his house that nobody ever comes down, so they just let the dogs run about. But, like, so when we were pulling up, and keep in mind, I was still high, so we were driving up there, and his mom is just a stone cold bitch. Like, she can be really fucking mean sometimes. And so we had gone, and we were driving along, and each time I tried to drive, I would go like 10 feet, and then the dogs would try to run up and in front of my car, so I had to brake again, and then wait until they got off. I would honk a little bit or do something, keep going, then stop. I really tried to get ahead of them, I really did, but it kept scaring me because those dogs had some fucking legs on them. Like, I could not get ahead of them. But anyway, after maybe like 10 minutes of that, we had finally made it to the house, and this was Jay's house, so keep in mind, his parents, and I don't know if anyone was living with him at the time, his siblings or anything, they were all in one house, but they had built another house to rent out to people, to sort of like an Airbnb thing, I guess. And so we had that house all to ourselves. Once we got there, we met up with Jay, and I didn't want to get out my bag of goodies too quick. Back then, I had to keep everything hidden, so in my car, I had a red duffel bag full of all the paraphernalia I had, because I didn't want Dad finding it in my room. Yeah, I had gone, so once we got there, we went inside, and then after a little while, Marshall and Glizzy got there, and then I asked Glizzy to get the red bag out, but he couldn't find it, so I just went and got it because he's a dumbass. And so Marshall I gave John a half of a Delta 8 edible. Now, these edibles were actually really fucking good. Like, they got the likes of me fucking baked. And so, yeah, I had given him half of one and told him not to eat the whole one until we made sure they didn't feel anything. But then he just went ahead and ate the fucking whole one while he was ripping a vape with Jay. And, like, keep in mind, this was maybe the third time he had smoked. Like, he was ripping pens at my birthday party, which we'll tell that story later. But, yeah, like, he was not prepared for what he was about to do. And so, after I had already started smoking, then Marshall got there, and he brought a pen that he had gotten from fucking Michigan. It was like orange and purple and shit. And he wanted us to do blinkers off that shit. And do not do blinkers. Blinkers are terrible for you. You will be inhaling hot metal. So just take, like, maybe, if you really want a big one, like, at most a 6-second hit, because pins are not to be ripped for 10 seconds. But anyway, we were young, dumb, and stupid, so I guess those two things are the same thing. But yeah, so we had taken turns doing blinkers, and first blinker, I had coughed so much, I had, like, almost thrown up into the toilet. Like, it wasn't throw up, it was just, like, mucus. That's gross, I'm sorry, but that's the best way I could describe it. And so afterwards, I came back out, and I was fucking cooked. And then John, who I think had also taken a blinker at that point, was just standing in the kitchen. And so I went, and just one time I gave him a hug because we were going to make it through this. And then I had to take another blinker because Marshall is a big fan of peer pressure. So I did so, and after that I threw up like 7-8 times into the toilet. Like, it was fucking terrible. And then John took another one, and so at this point, everyone except Glizzy was fucking faded, because Glizzy didn't smoke. And so, after that, we noticed some stuff John was acting weird. He wouldn't respond to us, he was dozing off, and soon enough, we started asking, like, hey, what's wrong? He couldn't even talk. So we, like, got him some Gatorade and stuff. His head was, like, spinning, and we asked him to grab, because, keep in mind, everyone except Glizzy, who would go on to be the worst fucking person in this situation, we were trying to, like, even though we were pretty fucking baked, we were trying to help him. So we were, like, grab under our hands, trying to remind him who he was, like, hey, you're John, you go with us to school. But his head was spinning, his eyes were going crossed, he was about to snap my fucking finger off because of how hard he was squeezing it. Then he started pointing straight forward at Glizzy, and then he's like, Glizzy. And, like, we didn't know what the fuck he was talking about. So eventually, after he got some Gatorade, and finally, like, we were trying to get him to calm down. So I had seen this video a couple days earlier of this one lady who made a video for people who get too high to sort of relax them, and I put that on. And he actually did start to enjoy it, and so we put on some more stuff to get him to sort of relax, and then I was on duty of taking care of him as he kind of went to sleep, and so yeah, he just kind of laid down and spaced out, and this was probably like midnight by this point, and then Marshall, Glizzy, and Jay had taken my bong and went out to do a bong rotation without me. Like, what the fuck is that? You're the one who peer pressures him into doing the fucking blinkers, and then you're leaving me with duty so you can go take bong rips? Like, that shit does not fly with me. So, yeah, I ended up taking care of John for the rest of the night, and, he's okay. I don't think he's smoked since, which is a shame, but yeah, it was a really fucking scary experience when it was happening, because we legitimately thought we were going to have to call, like, the cops or something, and they'd have to ask what was going on, or call, like, a fucking ambulance, or a fucking exorcist, who the fuck knows. The next morning, we actually had to go see John's parents. We had to spend the day with them for his birthday. We were going to, like, dinner, and going to do, like, a breakout room or something. It was weird trying to pretend to be sober the next day, but especially after the shit that happened last night. But he's doing all right now, and hopefully he'll smoke again soon, because he's still pretty scared. Well, anyway, I am Average THC Guy, and that's all for today.